Welcome to Farm Connections with your host, Dan Hoffman.
Joann Lower from Northwood, Iowa is joining us today on Farm Connections to tell us yet another wonderful story. This one's about the fair. Joann, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I was a farm kid. I wanted to be a town kid. Town kids could drink milk out of paper cartons. They could roller skate on sidewalks. We didn't have sidewalks or roller skates. Town kids could go barefoot wherever they wanted and never ever worry about what it was that squished up between their toes. I wanted to be a town kid, except for that one special time of year, the hot, steamy days of August and the Winnebago County Fair. There we were, the three of us Ostrander kids, barefoot, streams of sweat spilling down our cheeks to make clean spots where our freckles showed through. The fair was hard work, but we loved it. We could just imagine people in the bleachers watching as we, this year, took the blue ribbon. Maybe this year we'd get the purple, the grand champion. So we worked hard. We scrubbed our sheep. We scrubbed those Holstein calves, and we taught them how to stand just perfectly. That's called showmanship. Finally, the day of the fair came, opening day. There we were, clean t-shirts, shorts, shiny clean faces. Dad helped us load the sheep and the calves into the back of the old 47 Ford pickup. Dad, do you think we could throw in a bale of straw so that the sheep think it smells like home when they get to the fair? Behind the wheel he got. The three of us squeezed into the cab of the truck, already looking at what was in the back of the truck through that tiny little window. You see, they weren't just any animals back there. They were our pets. 4 miles north to Thompson, and down that rutted dirt road into the fairgrounds, where on one side was the Ferris wheel and the tilt-a-whirl and the merry-go-round. Oh, and the delicious smells of hot dogs and Maid-Rites and fresh apple pie and in the 4-H food stand, and the proud mothers with rosy cheeks in their homemade aprons. On the other side, the animal barns. First stop, dairy barn. My brothers Jim and Don tied their calves into those spaces that said Jim Ostrander, Don Ostrander, Linden Live Wires, 4-H. And then to the sheep barn. Dad grabbed a bale of straw, cracked it over his knee to break the twine, and made a nice bed for those sheep. Now the cows I told you about belonged to my brothers, Jim and Don. The sheep, they were mine. It had started when I was about 10 years old, when one day Dad said, "I'm going to stop calling you Tootsie now. You're a big girl. You need to learn some responsibility and you need money for college." Didn't know what he was going to do. He went back into the hog house and he brought out 12 little pigs. He said, "How would you like to raise these into nice big pigs?" "Oh, yeah, Dad, gee, I would love that." I loved those little pigs, but they were the runts of the litters. And some of them had kind of crooked noses with that you call rhinitis. So anyway, you know how it is that farmers, how they work their pigs when they get to be about 6 months old and they weigh about 250 pounds, they sell them. My little pigs didn't grow so fast. They had birthdays. So one day when Dad was a little bit tired of me taking all that feed out of the granary, he said, "We're going to take your pigs to the Buffalo Center sale barn and sell them." And I said, "Oh no." He said, "Oh yes." And we loaded all 12 of my little pigs into the back of the truck. I didn't know what was going to happen to them, but I knew that I couldn't bring them back home again. After they were sold, I guess it was because Dad didn't want to see me cry all the way home. He said, "Joann, look, you have all this money now. What would you like to do with it? Would you like to buy something else?" "Yeah, Dad, I would. I'd like sheep." Dad didn't like sheep very much. He kind of laughed like that, but didn't matter. It was my decision, my money. So in the back of that truck on the way home, there were 11 sheep. Some big, some small, some clean, some dirty. And in my lap in the front of the truck, a tiny little black lamb. Auctioneer just gave her to me. Said, "Miss Ostrander, are you sure you're responsible enough to take care of this lamb? You're going to have to feed her several times a day with a bottle." "Oh, you bet I can do that." I named her Daisy. Daisy's our good luck. Everyone knows that. It was this very same Daisy that was being led into the show ring by my little brother Don. I was so proud of the two of them that I didn't even realize when someone else got the blue ribbon. And Mary Anderson got the purple. Didn't matter. Daisy got a red. I was so thrilled. I took her back to her pen, gave her a fresh pan of cool water, gave her a big hug. But you know how it is at the end of a judging day at the fair? Some voice comes that says, "All right, you 4-H'ers, take away the food and the water from your animals. Tomorrow we sell them." Dad said Daisy was my responsibility. I had to take away her food and her water. I cried all the way up the stairs to my bedroom. Didn't sleep much that night. All I could see was that picture beside my bed of me in my white fluffy sweater holding my tiny little black lamb, Daisy. Next morning, when I heard the rooster crow, I knew that Dad would already be out milking the Holsteins. I slipped into those clothes that were kind of just standing there waiting for me, and I tiptoed down the steps, ran out to the barn as fast as I could, and there sat Dad milking all those cows on a little one-legged milking stool. He didn't even look at me. Finally, he looked up. "Joann, looks like we're going to have another one of our father-daughter talks." He finished milking and we went into the house where a girl and her dad can have breakfast, the kind of breakfast that Mom doesn't know about because she's still asleep. Chocolate chip cookies and milk. Dad looked at me, said, "Joann, would you like to go back into the fair?" "Oh, gee, Dad, I would." 4 miles to Thompson, down that little rutted road to the fairgrounds, stopped in front of the sheep barn. Daisy was the only lamb left in her pen. I ran over, I gave her a big hug. She was as happy to see me as I was to see her. Dad looked thoughtfully at me and at Daisy, and he said, "Joann, I think today we're going to change the rules. How would you like to pack her up and take her home?" "Oh, yes, Dad, I would. I want to take her home." He said, "You know, I'm pretty good at responsibility. I think you know that now. And you know, to make money, I can wear roller skates and one of those little short skirts, and I can sell root beer at the A&W. Thank you for letting me keep my lamb." For years after, when I traveled from Thompson and 4 miles south to our farm, I saw little black daisy lambs in every field. A town kid. I don't think I would have made such a very good one, but I certainly am proud that I was a farm kid.
Joann, thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Dan, for allowing me to share.